miigwech gnawa, ao bojo, anin, wache, sego, jawan obanasik, dinago, misko banasik kwek, and dinago, atik ndotam, mijo matekwe. Wetikeni michkansagi ganik ndochi. My name is Tina, and I've been asked to come and share a creation story with you. However, before we begin, um, what I'd like to do is, start off with some of our medicines. And if you have any sage, with you or sweetgrass, you know, use this time to, get your medicines ready, right? Well, this is what I'm going to do right now. I have it all ready here. And I'm going to have a smudge, and I have my sage, and I actually put some, this time I put some beaver medicine there because it's a really good medicine to kind of keep me focused, keep me centered, right? So I got some of that, and then also, the way I've been taught, I was taught by the old people up in the Treaty 3 area and by my grandparents, to always start off, try to start off to do our acknowledgements, right? So I also have, I'm going to show you here. So here you will see I have my smudge, I have my candle going, I have a wooden bowl of water, and I have in those dishes, I have tobacco and I have blueberries. And so I'm going to, one is to, to feed, offer sema and berries, to the water, to our creator, to creation. But also I have one there for, the little ones, for the babies, right? And that's why this time, normally I would have whole berries, I would have whole berries and that, but this time, what I did was I put my blueberries and I put them in one of those mixers to make them, just really, really soft. And again, that's the way I was taught by the old people to, to make sure that, our babies, are fed too, right? And also, before we begin, I guess I just would like us, to, also take a little bit time just to, honor and acknowledge, those 215 babies, that the little ones that, were found in Kamloops. And I think it's important that, we just take, a couple minutes just to close our eyes, and just, to think about them, to put out our prayers, for their families and their, the ones that are still here with us. So, so I want you to do that while I'm saying my prayer, okay? And just take this time. And if you have some tobacco, if you have some sema, I would like you to hold your sema in your left hand. If not, that's okay. That's okay, So I'm going to start off with a prayer, and I'm going to say it in my language, okay? But I'm going to also then, I'm going to translate what I've said. But during this time, I would like you, each of you, to, stop and acknowledge, do your prayers, okay? Whatever it is you need to do. Auposho, Wejawan Obanasi, Ninago, Wagamis Obanasi, Quake, and Ninago, Watikindo them who I need on the deck where. Where the snowgum who were, Boxendan who Jotakna make, where Sama, where we could go in, where Jotakna make who were. Where the spin ma, where Sama, where we couldn't go in, when me, Domingo Nawa, when we Panonchi, where the Nigawanunki, where the Gaikito, Gaiki, what Mawati, where the Gaiki Muntboganawati, where the snow from the shore, and Boxendamen, where Otoe Maganan, when one gets we met them all out no from who where the snow from the shore, and Boxendan came in who were Sama, we couldn't get one. Where Mina Goyaki, where we got the bench again, where they came shown us Nanak, not Miss Nanak, but so Nanak. Well, no, who again in a box and Mian, who again in who at Dojovichi, who's young getting Chicantaman, and he getting Jikitian, who were. When no who were again, who were Manato Apo, who were again, Emma, we can go and when over gagging where Mina Goye, who where the snow from the shoe and box and diamond, who when where Jotakna make, who how am Manato Apo. When no me box send me a where when up my gavin waganana could run the mat ne up mat sonwa who having white with which we having what where ni ma gagin wa when me take na be where we ask what back na gave one what I give me shell when Sama we can get on with me when we gas gagi kiwi what we're gagin wa Sama we can get on with gagin what me now. Where the snow from the snowbox sendan, which we chicos yan, we're getting scandaman, and he getting chicketian, where no, amigos, just now, amigos, naked. So I wanted to translate my prayer. And as with anything, and before we do anything in our way of life, in our way of being, is that we always introduce ourselves. We will always, lift up our name, our clan, where we're from, to creator and creation, to show our respect, because that's what it's about. It's showing respect. And so again, when I was asked to come and share a creation story, again, through this prayer, I was, asking for that help, and asking, for that assistance so that I know what it is that, for me to share with you, during our time together. However, though, with this prayer, again, I have two names, Southern Thunderbird Woman, Red Thunderbird Woman, and I'm from the Caribou clan, and I'm from Bearskin Lake First Nation, which is way, way up north. It's a flying community. And I'm also a residential school survivor as well. So I was in that system as well. So so I've come, I've come a long way in terms of, speaking my language again, because I didn't speak for many years. So again, I was acknowledging, the tobacco and the little dish that I have, for the berries, for, mashed up berries that I made them, really smooth for those little ones, and for the ones that are also, being found across the country. And again, lifting them up, lifting up their parents, their grandparents, their great grandparents, their relations. And so again, asking that, they be looked after and that they're taken care of as well. But also though, too, I have the same thing for, tobacco, and I have some berries here, for the water. And again, that's all a part of creation too, right? Is part of our responsibility is that we need to speak for the water. So again, um, that becomes important that, we lift up our tobacco, sema, and our food, for water, because that's what gives us life. But I'll get into that, a little bit further. But I wanted to again then explain that I also have, tobacco and berries, for our creator, you know, because there's only one creator. And that's the way I'm taught. There's one creator, one God. But all of our cultures, we look at, our, creator in a very different way. We translate, the teachings in a very similar, very different way, but they're very similar. So again, I was, offering up that tobacco and that, food, to our creator and to creation, everything that's around the medicines that you use to smudge, right? The medicines that you use to drink, right? To give you life. So, and then the other one, again, I did for our ancestors, the ones that have passed on into the spirit world, because, again, what I've come to understand is that, like for example, my dad when he passed away, now he's become one of my ancestors, right? He's become an ancestor to all of us. So again, it's again, there's always life to that. And finally, I have another little dish, with tobacco and berries here. And this is for what's being offered here, you know, through this team, all of the speakers that you're going to be hearing, the different ways of knowing, that's going to be shared with you. So again, I have tobacco and I have some berries there to lift up because each person that's going to come on with you, today, and the work of these, amazing people that put this together. Again, there's life. So again, that's our way. That's what we do is we put on our tobacco and our berries, for this work, because out of this, there's life, right? So So I just wanted to explain that, but I also, have my candle lit, as well. I put my candle on in the middle, right? Because again, I put the water and the candle, right in the middle because um, it represents life. It represents you, it represents me. It represents that fire that's inside of us, right? So, so I was asked here, to come and share a creation story. And there's all kinds of creation stories, right? Right from Sky Woman, to the Crees up in the James Bay Coast. So there's all different kinds. But I'm gonna really, keep it simple because these creation stories at times take many, many, many days, right? However, though, I'm going to, um, keep it very simple, keep it very simple. And, because it really relates to each of us, right? As we walk this road of life. But before I get into that, I'm going to, begin, with our grandmother teachings. So we have grandfather teachings. You've heard about that, right? There's love and respect. There's courage, truth, honesty, wisdom, humility. So those are the grandfather teachings. But also, though, there's grandmother teachings as well. So I'm going to share one the first grandmother teaching, which really ties into creation. Okay, but I need a drink first. So I need water. So there's 8 grandmother teachings. So it's very similar to the grandfather teachings, but what the grandmothers have been, reminding me is that we need to start talking about their first teaching, the first grandmother teaching, which is life, right? And that's why, in essence, when I showed you, um, on my altar cloth here, my cloth that I have here, all of these little wooden bowls with tobacco and berries, right? Is that recognition and that lifting up and respecting that there's life everywhere. Life. Everything has life attached to it. And so the grandmothers, when they've reminded me over the years to talk about their teaching of life, to say, that to remind people that there is life attached to everything that we do, everybody that we sit with, even knowledge, that's why I have a bowl there for, that tobacco and the berries for what you're going to learn today, right? What you're going to learn, because there's life attached to that. Because you might get a little piece of it and then it's going to keep growing, right? It's going to keep growing. So that's why, one of the reasons why the grandmothers want me to talk about that, about their teaching of life. And with that life, is also that water, right? And that's why, again, you've heard about all these grandmothers and aunties that go out and walk. They're the water walkers. They're the water protectors, right? They're out there, speaking for the lakes and the rivers, the streams, whatever, everything, right? However, though, the grandmothers also reminds us that first teaching is about that water that's within us, right? That water that's within us. And that's why it's important, too, that when we are speaking for the water, that we also need to speak for that water that's within us, because that's what gives us life. That's a part of our creation, our own creation, right? So that water, you look at our bodies, the younger and the older we get, the less water, I'm hearing that we have, but not really less, but, maybe there's about 70-80%, there's about, I don't know, 50, 60, a lot of water in our brains. Like, we're made out of lots of water, right? So again, that's why we need to also honor the water. We need to put our tobacco down. We need to put down, that food for our water, right? So again, what the grandmothers talk about is the importance, of our water, right? How we need to look after our water. We got to take care of our water, and we got to find ways to move that water that's within us, right? So with myself, with, being a residential school survivor, a big part of mine was about crying, right? And cried lots of tears, right? But I had to move that water. So that water and life come together, right? So I needed to explain that, and talk a little bit about that, because that's the beginning, right? That is the beginning. And so I wanted to just, share that with you about that water and why you need to look after that and take care of that. So now what I want to do is I want to share, how I've come to understand a creation story. And I want you to just kind of take, just get yourself relaxed, and sit back, while I share this creation story with you the way I understand it. Because we all have a creation story, all of us, each and every one of us. And it doesn't matter where we come from, we all have our own. And this is where I'm going to come from, because I when I was driving here, coming here, I was thinking and kind of praying about it, and I thought, and they reminded me that I wouldn't do my due diligence if I tried to, share the whole story because I wouldn't be able to. But they reminded me that, we have our creation stories. And the way I've understand my creation story, a creation story, is that all of us, each and every one of us, we all sat with our Creator before coming into this world. All of us, and we all sat up there and we sat with our Creator. We sat with the grandmothers. We sat with the grandfathers. We sat with the ancestors, and we were an ancestor, right? And then I'll just use myself as an example. So when I was up there, now sitting with the Creator and the grandmothers and grandfathers, and finally they said, Shawan Opanasik, Southern Thunderbird woman, I will Ginstam. Ginstam, it's your turn. Ginstam hima Gin Katoyan. It says it's your turn now to go do your work. Wedeshka wita maugo anin hi janeshna, but we're gonna tell you how it's gonna look. Anin hi jishtigayan, what you're gonna do. Anin hi jishna, but how it's gonna look and how it's gonna unfold. Binamadash, Himaina, ben, okay, now take right now. I need you to look down. Himagatakin, look down at the earth. Binma, not album, mama, kitata, I need you to look down. I want you to look for your mom and your mother and your father, who you want to bring you into this world. Mita Shimata Shingi Nap, and I sat there and I looked down and I seen, oh, ma, how is Ninda Twin, ma, how is your mama? So I said, I will pick that beautiful lady over there. Pick my mom. Oh, it's a skin data. I'm gonna pick that man over there, be my father. Wetash ngina go, wetash kete how we got the band together. This is what the Creator and the grandmothers and grandfathers said. Wetash hima pamatsumi kanagabum se. You're gonna walk this road. You're gonna walk that life road. That's what that's what the old people, they call, our when we walk on this earth, this life road. What the face say, this is what's gonna happen. Where the shkaya Kamina go where my dot swan poagan. She wanaga. We're going to give you all of these, these different items throughout your walk. You're going to, so they talked about how my birth was going to be, They talked about, how my father wasn't going to be in the picture. They're going to talk about, how it was, it's going to end up in the residential school, living with my grandmother, losing my language, and also, really, just going down that wrong path, of, alcohol and drugs and, all of that, all they talk to me all about that stuff there, and but they said you're going to give you all of these things along the way to help you, but you got to do your part, right? Me, I was, sat there and I listened to what they had to say, and then they said to me, now this was a real kicker, right? They said, "Ponga kenda sim, anin he kitnanok, you're not gonna remember. You're not gonna remember anything that we have shared with you. You're not gonna know, but you're gonna have those moments," they said. You're gonna have those moments of of deja vu. You know, I want you to stop and think for a couple seconds here. Have you had moments where you think, "Geez, this feels familiar"? Have you had moments like that? Like you just kind of know, hey, it feels. It's kind of like I'm been here, or this. There's something about this. Well, what I've come to understand is that when you have those moments, then you are in the right place. You're on the right path, right? And so that's what they told me. They said that's, you're going to have moments like that. But you're going to have to work for these things that we're going to give you to help you. But those are going to be the things that are going to help you too. And as you go down your path, right? And so what they said, but once you make it down there. And so when it was time for me to go, they said, we're going to be so sad, because to them it was like a death that happened to them, and that's how they see it when when our new babies come into this world. They get really sad because now they're losing, somebody, right? And meanwhile, we're so happy, when we have our little babies come, right? But then it turns around to be the opposite when it's time, when somebody passes on into the spirit world, we become really sad. They become really happy, it really flips around, right? So, so this creation story, that I'm sharing with you was something, as a part of my walk as an Anishinaabe woman. This was a part of my walk. I needed to find something that had meaning to me, personal meaning to me. But I again, through the Meday Lodge that I belong to, and listening to the creation story right from the beginning, going way, way back, that looks at all of us, but that also then helped me define my own creation story. So I always share this creation story with people I sit with or spend time with, because we're all of us, we're all looking to figure out, who am I? Who am I? Right? Who am I? Where do I come from? How did I come to be? Right? And what is my meaning? What is my purpose? What's my purpose here? And this is something I learned about this particular creation story is that it's, once I understood it, I started to understand that, um, that gave me purpose, that gave me responsibility, to work at, um, trying to, be the best that I could be the best helper, really, at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to, is being the best helper that I could be, um, for my family, for everyone around me, or anybody that I, have contact with, right? And so with this, with this creation story, I, I like to, encourage you, to, um, take some time, depending which area you come from. And one of the things that I'm always careful about, and it's about respect, and again, um, that's one of our teachings, is that respect is to always respect, you know, the teachings, or what is shared with me, and to recognize that it may not fit into what I've been taught. However, there might be something in there for me to help me be the better helper, be the better person, right? Because this is what, when I look at today, today is our national, Indigenous Peoples Day. It's it's a day, for us to lift up who we are, to lift up and to acknowledge, that we are pretty darn amazing people. We are. And so when we look at our creation story, I mean, who else would have something like that? That kind of a creation story. That, we are loved so much, and that's when I share my creation story, time and time again. I just know how much I am loved, and how much I am cared about. And so that's why when I'm here doing the work, I do it, in the best way that I can. And that's why when I showed you, my, um, um, I showed you my, sorry about that, the tobacco and um, the spirit dishes, right? It's because it's doing it in a proper way. It's following protocol, and that's what our way is all about. But also, there's one more thing I wanted to share with you as well, about creation and how we are of the land. We are of the land. We are of creation. I don't know if you've ever heard about the four elements, how we're made out of the four elements. This is so, when I first heard it, I was blown away, because I thought, wow. Well, first of all, there's four elements that we have, okay? First one is the earth, right? We're made out of the earth. When our physical bodies die, they give up, and that creation story that I shared with you, that, when we fulfilled everything that they said that we needed to do, then, our body just kind of goes, okay, you've done your work. You've done your work now, right? Go back into the earth, right? So that's the first element. The second element is the wind, right? And the wind is what gives us our breath, right? That's what gives us our breath. And the third element, is the water. And I already talked to you about the water. How we're made up of so much water, right? Again, how amazing is that, right? There's a third element, water. Now, if I was sitting with you in circle, I'd be saying, okay, guess the fourth element. Well, that's the fire. That's why I have a, candle here. Fire, right? And we've got the earth, wind, water, and then the fire. And the fire represents our spirit. Again, we're made from creation. I just love our way, I love our way. I love our ancestors. I love the old people, that they're able to, share these things with me. And, because I think about that and I think, wow, yeah, of course we're, here we are. And how simple is that? It's so simple. How we're made up from this. And of course, there's, again, we would have to sit for days, to really get into the details of all of this. But again, because of, the time restraints and limited time, I'm not able to get into it. However, though, I'm really working to, keep it as simple as I can. And because that's the way I learn is it's got to keep it simple. I got to, say to me simply so I can understand in the best way I can, right? And so I wanted to share the four elements with you as well, right? But also, what I would like to do is I would like to share a song with you. I'm going to sing a song. And the song again is, goes back to creation. It's celebrating creation. But it's also that's, in our way of life, in our culture as Anishinaabe people or wherever we're from, there's a duality to everything. There's a duality. And so this song that I'm going to sing and share with you, it talks about that love that we have for our mother and for our father. And it's not only our physical mothers and our physical fathers, but it's also, it's also about our first mother. Our first mother, some people call her Shagmakwe, Takinam, Iningenam, like different ways that we, refer to Mother Earth, right? So the song is also about honoring and acknowledging her, right? That love. But it also talks about that love of and relationship between our Mother Earth and Father Sky, because they need each other, right? They need each other. So this song, this is what this song's about. So this song that it's not a contemporary song. It's a a traditional healing song that I learned when I lived up in the Treaty 3 area. So, just take a couple minutes, relax while I sing you this song, and hopefully it'll be okay. I'm still trying to figure out how far to sit, from the mic, right? So I'm just gonna kind of move back a little bit. All right. Bojaw no banasig na nago mas ko banasig ko again and go at no damn. You show me there. Hey ya hey 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 ya hey hey ya hey ya hey hey ya hey ya hey hey ya Nisha when nema ma we de ge wing we hey ya hey hey ya hey ya hey ya hey Nisha when nema ma ne de ge win hey ya hey ya hey ya hey ya Nisha when nema ma ne de ge win hey ya hey ya hey ya hey ya hey ya hey ya hey. So that's the Mother Earth song. And that song, like I mentioned, it talks about that love that we have for our mother and for our father. And again, kind of going back, to that creation story that I shared, because we all have our personal creation story. And I want to encourage you, each of you, to, as you continue to walk this road of life, to search, for that, because what this particular creation story did for me was that it gave me meaning, it gave me purpose, right? And when I set up there, and I've been walking this red road, this life road, for over 25 years, and having those moments of deja vu, right? Having those moments, I go, okay, I must be in the right place, right? I must be doing the right thing. I must be fulfilling, what it is that they wanted me to do. And sometimes when I've shared this, creation story, sometimes, there's a couple things that I hear a lot. One is, some people will say, well, why did I pick, my parents who, ended up not looking after me? Or why, why is this happening? And so at times, I'll share a little bit about my own, when I was sharing with you my mother who I picked and a father who, I ended up not knowing and not meeting, for many, many years. I never met him until I was in my late 30s, right? But that itself was a gift for me by then, because I was already doing my work. I was already doing my healing work that needed to happen. And today I understand why. I understand why, he ended up on that path, why I ended up choosing him, because I ended up walking this path. Like I'm the only one on my mother's side that just lives this way, right? And I understand that today. And that connection that I have to you know, everything create to creation. I'm understanding that today, because, when I look at my father and my grandmother and all of my lineage, they were all medicine people, whereas, on my mother's side, it wasn't that way. And so now it's like, okay, I understand, right? But I also, again, some people say, well, why, why would why would all of this stuff happen? So when I look at myself, being in the residential school, and having gone through what I've gone through, I wouldn't be able to, the way I see it today is I wouldn't be able to share, what I've learned, how I've come to understand. Like even this creation story, I had to go through everything I had to go through in order to begin to make sense of this creation story, because there's many out there. And there's one sitting there for each and every one of you that's beautiful and just beautifully crafted just for you, each of you that are here, that are listening to me, right? So again, I wouldn't be able to figure this out, right? But this is where, when I was translating and they said, oh, we'll give you things to help you. We'll give you items, right? So somewhere along the way, sometimes you'll get a little grandfather rock, right? Or one of our oldest ancestors, right? And sometimes you'll get a feather, right? Some people, if they keep doing their work, their bundles get big, right? But they're there to help you first. You get it because it's for you first, right? And I remember, as a part of my own creation story, I realized that, when I realized that, the creator gave me, a drum and some feathers, and they loved me so much that, you know, they realized and they recognized that I needed a little bit more help, a little bit more comfort. So that's how I see, you know, what I'm given. So when you look into your bundles, when you look into, you know, if somebody has given you a feather, somebody has given you a nice little stone, you know, don't look at it as just a stone. Look at it as part of creation. And it's there to help you, right? It's there to give you what it is that you need. So I want to, you know, say miigwech, you know, to each of you, to all of you, you know, and for Angela for reaching out, and Chelsea, you know, doing her amazing work. And I was looking at the agenda, and it looks like you have some amazing people that are going to be coming on. Take advantage, and you know, of what's being offered, you know. So I want to say thank you. Miigwech Gitnawa. Like, I hope you learned something, you know. And if there's something in my talk here with you, what I've shared with you, and you're feeling it here, just trust them. Trust that that piece was meant for you, just for you. Okay? All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wedge.
Miigwech Tina, always so great to have you with us.
Always an honor, Angela.
Always learning from you, always. Oh, miigwech.
Oh, miigwech Gitnawa. Pamapi.